Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, hosted by the black face of white supremacy and brought to you by my friends at investyrefy.com. Invest in America like I do, and by Freedom Chat. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also want to thank Epoch Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, and Birch Gold. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are watching this on right now, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. 2 Kansas City newspapers, want the Chiefs' pro-life kicker, Harrison Butker, fired. Why? He extolled the virtues of being a mom. Michael Cohen, the prosecution's star witness, admits he stole from the Trump organization. Biden delivers a hateful, racially divisive commencement speech. CNN interviews a rapper about the P Diddy video showing him beating up his girlfriend, but the interview went off the rails. Representative Marjorie Taylor Green is called racist for making a crack about a black Democrat congresswoman's fake eyelashes, but who's the real racist here? All of this and more. Now, if you don't patronize our sponsors, well...
I'm gonna take this right foot, and I'm gonna whop you on that side of your face. And you want to know something? There's not a damn thing you're going to be able to do about it. Really? Really?
We know where you live. Trump draws a reported 100,000 people in New Jersey. Biden's New Hampshire rally? Not so much.
This is 30 minutes before the President of the United States is supposed to be in this room. Feel the excitement?
More on Mr. Biden in a minute. First, let's talk about a tale of 2 commencement speeches. First, that of Kansas City kicker, and later, the hateful address delivered by Joe Biden. Now, 2 Missouri newspapers want this Kansas City kicker kicked off the team for comments made in a commencement address, comments he made about Gay Pride Month and about abortion. But the comment drawing the most attention is what he said about the role of women.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
So much for this man's First Amendment rights. On college campuses, students are yelling from the river to the sea, referring to Israel as apartheid and supporting Hamas, an organization whose sole purpose is the destruction of Israel and the destruction of Jews. That's okay. But this guy makes comments about Gay Pride Month, abortion, and the role of women, and off with his head. An op-ed in the Kansas City Star stated that Butker should be replaced, quote, for poetic justice after Butker's Neanderthal outburst. And because the pipeline of talent is real, the Kansas City Chiefs' next kicker should be a woman. This is not a joke. It's not unrealistic. It would be good for business, end of quote. And a USA Today columnist wrote, quote, "Her vocation? Really? Did I slip and fall into a time machine and travel back to the 1950s?" End of quote. Sigh. Can you say misplaced outrage?
Watching people on social media convulsing over Harrison Butker's commencement speech is wild because I don't hear this kind of commotion for football players with 5 baby mamas who are on video beating their wives and children and driving their car 119 miles per hour, causing a 6-car crash. We have completely destroyed the holiness of family to the extremity of criticizing a man who goes on stage, congratulating the women for their accomplishments, even acknowledging that some will go on to lead successful careers, while still encouraging them to not be afraid to embrace the vocation of marriage and motherhood, especially if a career doesn't work out. Being a wife and a mom is important and it's pivotal, and no one should be villainized for speaking on it. In a society that promotes boss babe culture with a side order of abortions in order to be successful, a Catholic man encouraging Catholic beliefs to Catholic students is a breath of fresh air, especially after having to listen to morally reprehensible positions on a regular basis from the same people who are outraged now.
Now, this gentleman said pretty much the same thing about the role of men, and he wasn't canceled.
Fathers are our first teachers and coaches. They're our mentors. They're our role models. They set an example of success, and they push us to succeed. Encourage us when we're struggling. They love us even when we disappoint them, and they stand by us when nobody else will. And when fathers are absent, when they abandon their responsibilities to their children, we know the damage that that does to our families. Some of you know the statistics. Children who grow up without fathers are more likely to drop out of school and wind up in prison. They're more likely to have substance abuse problems, run away from home, and become teenage parents themselves. And I say this as someone who grew up without a father in my own life. I decided that if I could be one thing in life, it would be to be a good father.
Be the best husband to your wife, or your boyfriend, or your partner. Be the best father you can be to your children, because nothing's more important.
I mean, everybody's got their own opinion, and that's what's so great about this country. You can share those things, and you work through it, and that's what guys do.
What makes the locker room so cool is you're able to have those discussions and become better and make those decisions for yourself. And so even though there are very vast, I guess, differences as far as those speeches happening at the same time, I mean, you're able to talk to guys and you get knowledge, and you make your own decisions at the end of the day. And I think that's what makes this country so great, is that you're able to get as much knowledge as you can, and then you make your own decisions. And it gets a little divisive sometimes when you get to social media and you get to outside the building. But in the building, you can have those healthy discussions and still be friends at the end of the day, even though you might not agree with exactly the same things.
I think I didn't talk to him about this. Didn't think we need to. We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody from different areas, different religions, different races, and so we all get along. We all respect each other's opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man, and we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that, everybody could kind of follow that. So, yeah.
With so many women just on staff here and in the building, his comments kind of touched on women in the workforce. I mean, what do you tell them if they come to you with a concern about players speaking ill of, women in general?
Yeah, that hasn't happened. I don't think he was speaking ill to women, but he has his opinions, and we all respect that. I let you guys in this room, and you have a lot of opinions that I don't like. So.
Now, this Kansas City Chiefs kicker is a very, very good kicker. But if and when they do get rid of him, I've got a suggestion. Well, that dude believed in truth, justice, and the American way, so he'd probably get canceled too. Hi, folks. Do you trust this economy? What if you could receive a strong fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? And what if you were in control? You could turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. What if your interest was compounded daily, you were paid monthly, and there were absolutely no fees? And what if you could have peace of mind because there was no attack on your principal if you ever needed your money back? Well, folks, there is an investment with all of these features. Investors all over the country are earning a high fixed rate of return with Yrefy, and they don't care about what happens with the stock market or the Fed. And best of all, they receive their statement every month with no surprises. Would you like some more information? Just call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST. Or log on to investyrefy.com. That's investyrefy.com. Yrefy, do well by doing good. This brings us to President Joe Biden's commencement speech at Morehouse University, where he painted a racial picture very different from that of Senator Barack Obama when he ran for president.
How important is race in defining yourself?
I am rooted in the African American community, but I'm not defined by it. I am comfortable in my racial identity, but that's not all I am.
I mean, your mother was white, your father was African.
Right.
You were raised in a white household.
Right.
Yet at some point you decided that you were black.
Well, I'm not sure I decided it. I think, if you look African American in this society, you're treated as an African American. And when you're a child in particular, that is how you begin to identify yourself.
You think the country's ready for a black president?
Yes.
You don't think it's going to hold you back?
No. I think if I don't win this race, it will be because of other factors. It's going to be because I have not shown to the American people a vision for where the country needs to go that they can embrace.
Because somewhere along the way, we as a nation began to lose touch with some of our core values. You know what I'm talking about. We became enraptured with the false prophets who prophesized an easy path to success and paved with credit cards and home equity loans and get-rich-quick schemes. And the most important thing was to be a celebrity. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you get on TV. Our generation is called upon to buckle down and get back to basics. The Moses generation pointed the way. They took us 90% of the way there, but we still got that 10% in order to cross over to the other side. It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. It's what allows us to pursue our individual dreams and yet still come together as one American family. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the Stars and Stripes, all of us defending the United States of America. We know that too many young men in our community continue to make bad choices. And I have to say, growing up, I made quite a few myself. Sometimes I wrote off my own failings as just another example of the world trying to keep a black man down. I had a tendency sometimes to make excuses for me not doing the right thing. But one of the things that all of you have learned over the last 4 years is there's no longer any room for excuses. With millions of young people from China and India and Brazil, many of whom started with a whole lot less than all of you did, all of them entering the global workforce alongside you, nobody is going to give you anything that you have not earned. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered some discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations endured, and they overcame them. And if they overcame them, you can overcome them too.
But Biden only a few days ago delivered a poisonous, race-hustling commencement address at Morehouse.
What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, if black men are being killed in the street, we bear witness For me, that means to call out the poison of white supremacy, to root out systemic racism. I stood up for George Floyd's family to help create a country. We don't need to have that talk with your son or grandson as they get pulled over.
Oh, brother. Where do we start? George Floyd was full of fentanyl. He resisted arrest. And there's zero evidence that what happened to him had anything to do with his race. The lead prosecutor was a black man, and he took pains in his opening statement to say the police in general were not on trial. The Minneapolis PD in general was not on trial. This individual is on trial for what he did or didn't do to George Floyd. Now, when Biden talks about blacks being killed in the streets, he doesn't mean being killed in the streets by other blacks. No, he implies it's the cops and white supremacy. PoliceMag.com asks self-described very liberal people, how many unarmed black men did the police kill in 2019? 50% thought the police killed 1,000 unarmed black men in 2019. 8% thought the police killed 10,000. What did self-described liberals think? Well, 39% thought the police killed 1,000 unarmed black men in 2019. 5% thought they killed 10,000. The actual number, according to the Washington Post database, 12. Now, most homicides are same-race homicides. Most whites who are murdered by the whites, and most blacks who are murdered by the blacks. However, every year there are roughly 750 black-white homicides. 500 whites are killed by blacks, who are 13% of the population, and 250 blacks are killed by whites, who are 60% of the population. And that's homicide. What about non-homicide violent crime between blacks and whites? Attempted murder, rape, simple assault, aggravated assault, things like that. In recent years, there have been approximately 500,000 such crimes. 85 to 90% of the time, it is a black perp, white victim, only 10 to 15% the other way around. And Biden, of course, did not mention the nearly 50 people shot in Chicago the very weekend of his commencement address. Can you weather the storm? Can your savings weather an economic storm? Think about what you've put away for the future. Inflation can render your cash worthless. Real estate can crash like in 2008. Economies built on a mountain of debt can fall like a house of cards. There are very few physical assets you can invest in that can stand the test of time. Gold has withstood as a valued form of money for millennia. It's why people are flocking to it now, and why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Through a little-known tax loophole, Birch Gold lets you convert a retirement account into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. To learn more, visit LarryForGold.com and claim your free info kit on gold. Let me ask you this again. Can your IRA or 401k weather an economic storm? If not, call the people I trust, Birch Gold. Visit LarryForGold.com and secure your savings today. That's LarryForGold.com. As to the poison of white supremacy, the Anti-Defamation League tracks how many people are killed every year by extremists. Last year, 17 people killed by extremists out of over 18,000 homicide victims. And did Biden say blacks have to be 10 times better than anybody else to get a fair shot? He sure did.
What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot.
Whoa! Assume a 40-hour work week. Blacks have to work 400 hours a week to get a fair shot. Now, there are only 168 hours in a week, so there's no sleep, no eating, no going to the bathroom, and no time to work on how to get a fair shot.
Ridiculous.
Biden also repeated this debunked lie.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about?
Really, Mr. President? Really?
The reporting on Georgia's law is factually inaccurate, has been flat out wrong and misleading. And I think if you actually read Georgia's law, you would know that. Specifically to people getting water in line, there is a no solicitation zone in Georgia's law with 150 feet from the polling location. Florida has a similar no solicitation zone. So if you are a candidate or a political party or an electioneering group or organization, you cannot come into contact with voters when they are within 150 feet in line of the polling location. If somebody is 350 feet, 450 feet, 550 feet, you can talk to them, you can give them pamphlets, you can give them water, you can give them food, whatever. But when you're in 150 feet of a polling location, No candidate, political organization, electioneering organization, third-party political group can have contact with that voter within 150 feet of the polling location. It is a no solicitation zone. That actually protects all voters. So let's be very clear about what happened in Georgia's law.
Biden also said,
most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Now, where have I heard that line before?
All you do is keep hearing about fear. It's amazing to me why we keep loving this country and this country does not love us back.
Now, Coach Rivers was referring to the police shooting of Jacob Blake, the Kenosha, Wisconsin black man who resisted arrest and was holding a knife. Blake later admitted he should not have resisted, and he acknowledged he had a knife. He even said, and I'm quoting him, "I wasn't thinking clearly," end of quote. So, now, when it comes to hate crime, the New York Post editorial board, citing researcher Heather McDonald, wrote, quote, from 2016 to 2020, blacks nationally were twice as likely to commit a hate crime as whites among suspects whose race and ethnicity were known. In New York City, from 2010 to 2020, blacks were 2.42 times as likely as whites to commit a hate crime. Los Angeles blacks last year committed anti-Asian hate crimes at 4.8 times the rate of whites, anti-gay ones at 7 times, anti-Semitic ones at 2.4 times, and anti-Hispanic ones at 13.5 times the white rate, end of quote. Biden also said this about his late son, Beau.
I had the same pain 43 years later when that 4-year-old boy who survived was a grown man and a father himself, lying in another hospital bed at Walter Reed Hospital, having contracted stage 4 glioblastoma because he was a year in Iraq as a major, won the Bronze Star, living next to a burn pit. Cancer took his last breath.
Hold the phone. Factcheck.org says, and I'm quoting, the little data that exists does not suggest that Iraq vets have developed brain cancer at a higher rate than those who served in earlier wars. A VA spokesperson wrote that there is, quote, no evidence, close quote, of increased brain cancer among Iraq war vets or any post-9/11 group. Burn pits are open areas in which trash from a military base is burned. Biden suggested that burn pits are the reason why some veterans, including his son, develop brain cancer. There is little evidence to indicate that's true, although scientists have not ruled out a connection, end of quote. So, and this is yet another Biden whopper.
I was the first Biden to ever graduate from college, taking out loans, my dad and all through school to get me there.
Actually, Biden earlier told the New York Times there were Finnegans, my mother's family, that went to college. And his grandfather, Ambrose Finnegan, also attended and graduated from Santa Clara College. Apart from that, does Biden think an American held hostage by Hamas was in the audience?
My administration is working around the clock to free the remaining hostages, just as we have freed hostages already. And here with us today is Hirsch Goldberg Poland, and it's still, he is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas.
Get me, Mumbles.
No.
How about Mumbles?
What about you?
Mumbles. Where's Lips Manless?
I know you want to do it. Don't like I don't do it. I didn't 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 do it. Yeah. I didn't do it. Anyone? I didn't do it.
Did you know that Joe Biden was vice president during the pandemic? Apparently, he thinks he was.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to.
And the White House later altered the transcript after Biden claims he was VP during the pandemic. And you wonder why the Republicans want the actual taped interview Biden had with special counsel Robert Hur, who declined prosecution for the documents case because they said that Joe Biden was an elderly man with a poor memory. How can you trust a transcript from these guys? And did Biden say people of January 6th were erectionists?
He calls the erectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots.
Sometimes the best way to get closer is to get as far away from it all as possible. Don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way.
Let me ask you a question. How many of you are concerned about the invasion of privacy that is currently going on by the Biden administration? Biden's DOJ is invading individuals' private messages and targeting them based on their political affiliation, and that's why I partnered with Freedom Chat, a private social messaging app that, like me, believes privacy is your fundamental human right. Freedom Chat has variable end-to-end encryption, built-in screenshot protection, no storage of messages on their servers, and no commercial use of user data. I'm such a fan of Freedom Chat, in fact, that I have created my own private channel that you can subscribe to for exclusive content, including never-seen images, videos, and posts. Simply download the app, or if you're on Android, join their waitlist. Search for my channel and subscribe. No one can see the channels that you are subscribed to or the posts that you react to. It's your own perfectly curated private news feed. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. Bill Maher explains why Biden decided to debate Donald Trump.
First of all, to me it says Biden knows he's losing, because else he wouldn't have agreed, right? Only the loser wants to debate.
Biden is losing every swing state except Wisconsin. I still don't believe he's going to debate. Trump wants him to take a drug test before the debate, and that'll be Biden's way of getting out of it.
I just want to debate this guy, but, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, is that Joe up there? A beautiful robe? And by the end of the evening, he's like, well, he was exhausted, right? Now, we're going to demand a drug test.
What other supplements did you use?
I'm not here to talk about the past.
Now, speaking of fake news, the Biden campaign put out this video of a Trump speech, and they claim that he froze for over 30 seconds.
Nation in the history of the world. Nation in decline.
Now, Trump set the record straight on Truth Social. Quote, the Biden campaign put out a fake story that I froze for 30 seconds, going into the musical interlude section, when in actuality, the 30 to 60 second period of silence is standard in every one of my speeches where we use the music. Check out any of my speeches. The reason they came up with this disinformation is that Biden freezes all the time, can't put two sentences together, and they can rarely find his way off the stage without help. Donald Trump doesn't freeze. It is a made-up Biden campaign story put out in a dying newspaper that I never heard of, and every reporter knows it, including the large group that was there, end of quote.
The Texas spirit of proud independence was forged by cowboys and cattle hands, ranchers and rangers, oil workers, soldiers, and brave, brave, brave pioneers. Many came here with nothing but the boots on their feet, the clothes on their back, and the gun in their saddle. But they turned this state into a home of freedom, justice, and liberty, and they raised the flag high and dared any foe to come and take it. Do you know what that is? Come and take it. Come and take it. Together they helped make America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 58 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest levels in our history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just a few short years ago.
Oh, that's very different. Never mind.
But Biden, of course, was raised in the black church, where he desegregated restaurants, after which he and Corn Pop, a bad dude, got arrested trying to visit the imprisoned Nelson Mandela in apartheid South Africa after Biden's uncle was eaten by cannibals in New Guinea. Biden also whipped out the race card in a speech before the NAACP.
Folks, the threat that Trump poses is greater in his second term than the first. It's clear that when he lost in 2020, and I mean this sincerely, something snapped in Trump. He just can't accept he lost, and he lost it. That's why on January 6th, what happened? Every legal avenue Trump tried to challenge the election failed, so it unleashed an insurrection. And now he's running again. He's not only obsessed about losing 2020, he's clearly unhinged. Just listen to him. He calls the erectionists.
Oh, no. Not again.
Stormed Capitol Hill patriots. He says if reelected, he wants, quote, every one of them pardoned. Let me ask you, what do you think he would have done on January 6th if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? No, I'm serious. What do you think? I can only imagine.
What would Trump have done if the January 6th rioters had been black? You mean if black Trump supporters had rioted to protest the election that Trump supposedly lost, he would have had these black supporters arrested?
That is the most illogical attitude.
Again, Trump would have bragged. They love me. Black people love me.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
Some Morehouse students turned their back on Joe Biden. Hey, maybe somebody spotted Corn Pop.
Joy, a day earned, not given. We gather on this Sunday morning because if we're in church, perhaps it would be this reflection. It would be a reflection about resurrection and redemption. Remember, Jesus was buried on Friday, and it was Sunday. On Sunday, he rose again. But we don't talk enough about Saturday, when his disciples...
And can somebody please get us an interpreter?
Get me, Mumbles.
They want to undo what they finally got done. And then what we finally got done to make up for it. They want they want to give power back to Big Pharma. Director of my Office of Science and Technology. Where's Already? Where is she? Stand up, kid. I like that dress. Let them see your gown.
Even Cardi B, who supported Biden in 2020, appears to be having second thoughts.
Yo, Trump is, I cannot go. I'm telling you, if Trump goes for like another 4 years, I'm going to have a meltdown. Like, I think I will have a mental breakdown. Like, I cannot deal with this anymore. Like, I do be scared of the state of the country. Not because people be like, I care about the country because I care about the people. Not only do I care about the people, but it's like I am afraid of the future. Like, I am afraid of the future. Like, I don't want another war. You know what I'm saying? Like our economy, like the economy right now, it sucks.
When I go to the supermarket, like I went to the supermarket, I'm seeing that everything tripled up. That like lettuce was like $2 a couple of months ago, and now it's like $7. Of course, I'm gonna say something. Because if I think that is crazy, I could only imagine what middle class people or people in the hood is thinking. So yes, I'm going to say something. And I have a big platform, so I do want anybody that's responsible of these prices to put that down.
Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? So am I. It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I'm proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch over to Patriot Mobile, you're sending a message that you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military vets and our first responder heroes. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes it easy to switch, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Larry. Join me and make that switch today. patriotmobile.com/Larry, patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. As for the Trump trial in New York, even a pundit on CNN said, quote, "This is an indictment in search of a crime," close quote. And get this, turns out Michael Cohen, the prosecution's star witness, actually stole money from the Trump organization and admitted doing so on the witness stand. But hey, not to worry, says MSNBC's Jen Psaki. The fact that Michael Cohen stole from Donald Trump, no biggie.
The defense may think they racked up a big victory for themselves today, because during the cross-examination this morning, Cohen admitted that he stole from the Trump organization. In addition to the reimbursement for the hush money for Stormy Daniels, Cohen was also given $50,000. Now, that money was supposed to be repayment for what Cohen spent to hire a tech firm to rig an online poll on Trump's behalf. We don't have time to get into that detail, but as Cohen said on the stand, he only paid the firm $20,000. And he kept the rest for himself. Asked point blank today whether he stole from the Trump organization, Cohen said, "Yes, sir." Now, pocketing $30,000 might be shady, but it doesn't change the facts of the case.
And as far as MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell is concerned, Michael Cohen stealing from Trump? Well, Cohen was simply trying to, quote, rebalance the bonus, close quote, that Cohen thought he deserved. Rebalance the bonus?
The shocking thing at the end of that cross-examination, and I just can't tell you how stunning it was, because it's the thing that I was waiting for. I saw everything Todd Blanche. I've seen every minute of cross-examination. I've seen every single question he's asked. And he sat down and ended his cross-examination without asking a single question about the $130,000 that appears on the Alan Weisselberg notes about how they were structuring the payment to Michael Cohen. He asked about the $50,000 that's irrelevant to the $130,000. And that's where he very effectively got Michael Cohen to agree that, yes, he stole $30,000. Later, when Cohen was asked about that on redirect by the prosecution, it didn't really sound like stealing $30,000. It sounded a lot like Michael Cohen doing the little that he could within that calculation to rebalance the bonus he thought he deserved, and it still came out as less than the bonus he thought he deserved and the bonus he'd gotten the year before. Jesus Christ. Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it? Where's the hammer? Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering.
But this CNN attorney pundit begs to differ.
When it first came up, the way that Michael Cohen explained it was so wishy-washy and mealy-mouthed that it was almost imperceptible. He said something like, well, I didn't pay the full amount back because I didn't think Trump deserved it. Huh? Today, Todd Blanche made clear, you stole. And here's why this matters an enormous amount. This isn't just Michael Cohen stealing from the Trump org. This is Michael Cohen stealing in the course of the $420,000 payment that is the heart of the crime. And the prosecution's case is, and they've said variations of this over and over, Donald Trump knew exactly what that $420,000 was for. He knew that it was for Stormy Daniels. He knew every penny. He knew every paperclip. No, he didn't, because he was getting robbed on that $420,000. Here's the other thing that is indefensible for the prosecution. Their theory now is Donald Trump committed either a misdemeanor or a Class E felony, the lowest felony. It goes from A to E. And while he was committing either that misdemeanor or Class E felony, he was the victim of a Class C felony, larceny, committed by our star witness, the prosecution's star witness, who we gave a free pass to. Whatever the outcome of this case is, it still may well result in conviction. That's an outrage. That is not just.
Meanwhile, over at Fox, here is Alan Dershowitz reacting to being in court during the Trump criminal trial.
I sat in the front row, literally just feet away from where all the action occurred. I rolled my eyes when the judge made some rulings that were absurd. Any first-year evidence student would understand that he was making biased rulings in favor of one side. I stared him down, but Costello didn't. He acted like a normal witness, and the judge went berserk. The judge violated Trump's constitutional right to a public trial by kicking the media out of the courtroom. I don't know why I wasn't kicked out. And I heard him lecture Costello, what you did was contemptuous. You looked at me contemptuously. And, it reminded me of Mae West when a judge said, you're showing contempt for the court. And Mae West said, no, Your Honor, I'm trying my best to hide my contempt for the court. I'm sure Costello was trying to hide his contempt for the court, but the judge had such a thin skin that he threatened him. He said he would strike the testimony and hold him in contempt if he rolled his eyes again. You have a constitutional right to roll your eyes and to stare at anybody. It was absurd. And then to sit so close to Cohen, watching him give lie after lie. Would you believe he actually said he would not have accepted a pardon from Donald Trump after he had previously said he would do anything to avoid prison? He would lie, he would cheat, he would do anything to avoid prison, but I won't accept the pardon from Donald Trump. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. There were so many lies and then failure to allow a full testimony from the expert when the other side was allowed to introduce letters saying, and the jury will believe it, as Jonathan correctly said, that it was illegal, it was illegal, it was illegal. This expert was going to come in and rebut that. This judge has committed more reversible errors in the one day I was in the courtroom than I've seen in years and years of practicing law. It's just an outrage.
Even lefty filmmaker Oliver Stone believes Trump is a victim of a political persecution.
This is a potential World War III. This is the same situation as World War I in a sense. If we don't stop this, what Biden is doing, this guy is, I voted for him. I made a mistake. I'm thinking that he was an old man now, that he would calm down, he'd be more mellow and so forth. I didn't see that at all. I see a man who maybe is not in charge of his own administration, who knows, but he's going to fall down somewhere. But it seems that he's dragging us stupidly into a confrontation with a power that's not going to give.
Now, I've said from the beginning, there must be at least one juror or maybe two who, like many of us, can't figure out what the devil Trump is alleged to have done. Now, I've been wrong about juries before, but I don't believe Trump will be convicted. He may not be acquitted, but I predict at least a hung jury. And he won't be convicted. And if that happens, and again, I certainly could be wrong, but if that happens, wait until you see his poll numbers.
Unintended luggage.
Behind me is the San Diego border wall, what was once regarded as the best example of secure bordering in the United States. Now, this border wall section, it's now facing the same type of border crisis right here as the rest of the country.
We have open gaps here in San Diego, but they're just coming in.
According to statistics from Customs and Border Protection, around 7.2 million illegal immigrants entered the United States under President Joe Biden alone. What is actually causing this crisis?
Now, this was supposed to be an interview about the disturbing and shocking video showing P Diddy beating up his girlfriend and Diddy's subsequent apology. But this CNN interview really went sideways. The host wanted this guest, a rapper, to repeatedly denounce Diddy after he'd already done so. The host wanted the rapper to make the case that the entire rap business is misogynistic. And when the rapper resented the way he felt he was being pushed, the wheels came off the interview.
Disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I'm truly sorry.
Joining me now is Cameron Giles, better known as the rapper Cameron. He's also the co-host of the podcast, It Is What It Is. Thanks for being here. First, when you saw that video of Diddy, Cassie in that hotel, did you recognize that Sean Combs?
What I want to say, first of all, when I seen the video, everything in the video is egregious. I'm against. I don't support all the charges that's alleged against him. I don't support any of that trafficking, minors, domestic violence. I'm totally against it. So when I seen the video, yeah, I was kind of upset with it. Being that I know him, he's not necessarily a friend, but yeah, I was upset when I seen it. But
did you recognize
everything
him?
I just said.
Did you recognize that kind of anger at all from your experiences?
I don't like that. What do you mean? Do I be recognized? Did I recognize him? I seen him. What do you mean my experiences? I seen him and I thought it was disgusting. I didn't do a zoom in to see if it was really him or nothing, but he admitted it was him, so yeah, it was him.
What did you think about the apology that he gave in that other video?
Ain't me for this. The apology ain't for me to decide, it's for Cassie. What I think about it don't matter. He ain't do nothing to me. Cassie need to ask Cassie if she accept the apology. I told you how I feel. I said what I said.
I want to play a conversation that you had on your podcast back in September with Mace. Listen.
Yeah.
When you had your record deal, why did you take me to Biggie Smalls and not Bad Boy?
Man, it's almost going to bring me to tears to say this. Being that I saw you as such a good friend, I wanted to put you with somebody I knew with.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. A lot of people ask me that on Instagram, man. Don't have me that's why I'm here crying and shit, man. I don't want to get emotional in here, man.
Instantly, I knew Biggie would do right by you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint. I'm just going off what Mace said. Mace took me to Biggie. I don't really know Puffers like Mace know Puff. So I appreciate what Mace said. And of course, that's my brother. So if he felt that way, then he felt that way. I can't really tell you how Puff moves or anything like that. Mace may know better than me because he was signed to Puff. I wasn't. But my show does come on at 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. It's called It Is What It Is. And y'all make sure y'all check it out. I mean, I might get some more information out of Mace from there, but for me to tell you how Puff acted and all that, I don't know. I never was signed to him.
Yeah. What about the industry in general? I mean, so many people have pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him. Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Yo, who booked me for this joint?
All right.
Wow, and I'll be sitting
Cameron,
around watching Diddy and all that. Yeah,
thanks.
Man, come on, man.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. You enjoy.
Want to get away? Now you can for just $39.
You are now free to move about the country.
Who booked me for this joint? Tough day at the office.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Marjorie Taylor Green made this comment about a Democrat congresswoman's fake eyelashes.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
So saying someone has fake eyelashes is racist?
So you also called Green racist for what she said about you. Why is that?
Yeah. Because as I've received so many amazing compliments from MAGA America throughout my time in Congress, a lot of times when I would go viral, instead of them trying to address the things that I laid out in a very factual way, what they would try to do is say, oh, look at her hair, or look at her nails, or look at her lashes. And they would all then associate anything that I do as a form of beautification with being quote unquote ghetto. And so to me, she was just basically repeating the nonsense that MAGA world is constantly putting out there, because I am not the only woman in Congress that wears lashes. And there are women on her side of the aisle that wear lashes as well as hair extensions. But she's never felt like that was a dig that she needed to take at anyone, except for me, a Black woman who sits on the committee. And then, of course, she went after AOC and called her unintelligent, a brown woman that sits on the committee.
Girl, MAGA ain't thinking about you.
You know, women wear makeup, we wear lashes, we wear all types of things to beautify ourselves. But MAGA has historically been on social media doing the things where they're saying, oh, she's Black with lashes and nails and hair, and so she's ghetto. And so
what people don't understand, okay, let me clarify something for MAGA. MAGA cares about cheap gas. We care about a country to leave to our kids. We care about schools. We care about crime. MAGA ain't thinking about you and your lashes, sis. We don't think you're ghetto because of your lashes. We think you ghetto because you're ghetto. Like, legit. The way that you were like, huh? What? Does she even know what we're talking about? Like, that was ghetto. That girl says, oh, bleach, blonde, bad built, butch body. Anybody that has seen Marjorie Taylor Green knows she ain't got no bad built body. Sis is stacked, okay? Like, I'm sorry. She got a banging body, and she works out, and she takes care of herself. And the reason why I think it's kind of corny, I think that is kind of corny, is because Black people are always coming at white people. I mean, she said that. I didn't really think that was, I mean, it was just her being Black, saying Black stuff. Like.
So saying somebody has fake eyelashes is racist, but this is not?
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
But enough about Joy Reid. Cultural appropriation alert.
When you described Green in this request for clarification as a bleached blonde, bad built butch body, which I had to look at my notes to read, any regrets about that kind of language? Especially given that you were trying to make a point, frankly, about decorum in the hearing room.
I have no regret.
While commenting about the accusations of sexual misconduct against the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, Representative Ayanna Pressley said this.
According to the FDIC's own reporting, more than 80% of harassment complaints resulted in zero discipline. And when there were repercussions, not a single one resulted in removal, reductions in grade or pay, or any discipline more serious than a temporary suspension. I am so tired of white men failing up. This lack of accountability is a shameful, inadequate, and deeply unsatisfactory, and it is re-traumatizing.
I'm so tired of white men failing up. Can you say racist? Can you just imagine if some white Republican said about, say, former Harvard President Claudine Gay, or about the now fired former diversity program manager at Facebook and Nike who embezzled over $5 million from those companies, or about the female co-founders of Black Lives Matter that cannot fully account for some $90 million in donations? We're so tired of black women failing up. Are you kidding me? A Real Clear Markets article said, Bank of America needs to come clean about debanking practices. It wrote, and I'm quoting, more victims of Bank of America's debanking regime have come forward, including Timothy II Project International and constitutional scholar John Eastman, a friend of mine, both debanked under similar circumstances by the nation's second largest bank. The bank's lack of transparency about cancellations that suspiciously look like they are based on viewpoint is why shareholders sought a report assessing whether the bank's policies and practices pose a risk of politicized debanking. Old Glory Bank will never debank any law-abiding customer. Our mission is the Constitution. Open an account at oldglorybank.com, and when you get your debit card in the mail, activate it, and you'll get a copy of my latest book, As Goes California, at a 50% discount. oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. Kamala Harris inadvertently revealed why we have a 40-year high in inflation.
The president and I, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, the Infrastructure Act, we are dropping trillions of dollars on the streets of America right now to build back up our roads and our bridges, our sidewalks, to invest in a clean energy economy, to deal with the climate crisis in a way that is about building up adaptation and resilience. Well, a business like Mr. Phelps's business is going to make what we plan to do out of Washington, D.C. real on the streets of America.
Wow. Never mind the warning that Democrat former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, Lawrence Summers, gave about the excessive spending leading to inflation.
We have a problem, and it's a pretty broad problem, with what I call motivated belief. People really wanted to engage for all sorts of reasons, humanitarian, political, related to momentum at the beginning of an administration, in a very, very large stimulus program. And so they convinced themselves that it wouldn't be inflationary because they really wanted it to not be inflationary. And I think that something we need to do is be much more attentive to the fact that the world is as it is, not always as we prefer it to be.
Sigh. As I've said many times before, maybe someday somebody will develop a vaccine for Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, I think I don't understand why people are not taking him seriously, because you read about it historically in other countries that they didn't take the people seriously. I think Hitler, Mussolini, they're fools and clowns. Well, there will be, and I hear it. There's some people. I mean, who does not think that this guy is going to do exactly what he says he's going to do?
Right.
He's done it already.
Right.
And then what? We're going to sit around and say, what? We told you so? Or whoever, I told you so? It's going to happen. If he gets elected, it's going to change this country for everybody. And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to, excuse my French, they just want to with the rest of the country. Literally. Those people who support him with anger and hate, because that's what he's about, they're going to see. I mean, I used to see these things. I didn't understand how he and Rosie O'Donnell used to get it. Didn't really care.
Yeah.
I see what a hateful, mean-spirited, awful thing he is.
He was vicious to her.
He's vicious. And why Why will he not do that in this country? He's already done it. Yep. Why would he not do? When I say I want to punch him in the face, it's because what he said to a person, a bystander or somebody in one of his rallies, he wants to punch him in the face. You don't talk that way to people. What kind of person does that?
Hold up.
Keep up the fight, keep at him, go at him hard, and every chance you get, go at him. Go at him, because people, they take notice of that stuff. And don't be, he's not afraid, but he's doing what he should do. He knows that. That's the only way. I use it figuratively, but I say punch him in the face. Go at him. A bully, you punch in the face. The trouble with Trump is he's not just a bully, he's a stupid bully.
Makes fun of the physically challenged. He makes fun of people who have physical challenges.
He's done that too. He's done everything.
He trashes the military. He says that people who go to war are losers. Wake up.
He's done everything. What more do you need? It's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country to f with us. his slogan should be F America. I want to F America.
And the other thing is, if he becomes president again, he's never listen, he's not going to not stop being president. You understand this? Yeah. His idea is to stay in until he drops dead.
That's it. He's not even conceding it now. So imagine if he actually did win the election. Yeah. It's over. Yeah. We're going to have such civil strife. We're going to have all the things he says because everybody's now on to him where he projects what he's saying. Yeah. It's what he wants, what he envisions the world to be, which is chaos and craziness, total craziness.
Democracy stunk.
Some final thoughts. Nude man in stable condition after running into the street, getting hit by a car in Ladera Heights.
Naked man leaping over a fence and running right into traffic.
He kills somebody, like, oh.
But that's just the beginning of this wild story.
Me and my coworker saw the tree shake a lot, so we kind of stopped and was like, well, is the tree gonna like topple over or anything? So, and then that's when we noticed a man inside of the tree, and we were like, well, that's kind of weird. Got my camera out, started recording, and yeah, there you go. A naked man just jumps out. Oh, very shocked. Now, me and my buddy were just like, what's going on? Like, are we being pranked? And then he just ran across us. And then a lady in the car just hits him. And
the nude man manages to get up after being struck, but is seen in another video back down on the street. It's not known if he was hit by a second vehicle. Moments later, deputies arrive and surround him.
Hey, I blame climate change. Now here's how you can tell summer is a-coming. Look, it's cheaper and faster than hitting the gym. Now I found a sport easier to play than pickleball. And you don't even need a court. Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by my friends at investyrefy.com. Invest in America like I do, and by Freedom Chat. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Epic Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, and Birch Gold. And make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you're watching this show on right now, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble.
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
A what now?
And remember, we've got a country to save.